Hello everyone and welcome to Canvas LMS for elementary teachers for grades K-4 and some 5th grade. Today we're going to start with a few housekeeping things. One, attendance. Cole has put in the chat for us today the attendance link. So please just make sure that you fill out your attendance, and if you didn't have a chance yesterday to do attendance, feel free to fill it out for yesterday as well. Today you have the digital teaching and learning team, Stephanie Burton, Cole Wilkins, and Lisa Thoman. And we're going to go through with you today another session of Canvas for elementary teachers using the elementary platform. We're glad to have you and thank you for joining us, since today we have some new people that may not have been with us yesterday. As you're filling out your attendance, some of us are joining us today for the first time, and note that all sessions are recorded for you to be able to view at your own time. We will begin shortly. Okay, so let's review from yesterday. Yesterday we talked about rapid identity and how to log in, and the red canvas icon. We walked through how to use your UID number to get into rapid identity, as well as clicking on the red canvas button to get your courses that are synced from PowerSchool. Next after, we created a manual subject card, or what's known as a teacher sandbox. Let's talk about the teacher sandbox for just a second. These teacher sandboxes are ideal for you as a teacher to house your content in each module that you create, so that you can utilize the content from year to year, as each year your PowerSchool courses are archived and the content goes with it. So yesterday's recording goes through how to create a manual subject card or a teacher sandbox. We also gave an enrollment link for this course called Canvas LMS for elementary teachers, and we'll give that link again later on in this session. We've worked with Digital Teaching YouTube and having you subscribe to our channel so that as you need to find it again, you can. And we will also leave a question and answer slide deck for you to ask as we go through training. In the sandbox, let's review one item that is very important for you as an elementary teacher. As we go through and building a sandbox, it is a template that's brought in from Commons. When you bring in that template, it has a home page, just like our landing page on the screen today. But note that you don't have to edit the home page, and the purpose of the sandbox is to store your modules with your content to pull into your elementary platform, as we discussed today. Okay, so we're going to get started. We're going to start today in Homeroom and start going through that elementary platform. Here's Stephanie to go through it.
Good morning, guys. One of the other things that you need to remember about the actual sandbox subject that you've created is it is up to you whether you design that home page. You technically do not have to, as Lisa just said, but you will never move all of that whole course into your subjects. You're going to focus on the module area, which we'll talk about a little bit later this week on how to utilize the modules. but that will be the only area that you will actually copy that from your Sandbox into the specific subject of ELA, if it's a ELA module or activity or a math one. But technically, that course will never be taken as a whole course and moved over. We just want to make sure that you guys understood that. It is a safe place for you to put your things. And we'll talk a little bit later about some questions that you guys had from yesterday based on some of the things. Now let's talk about where we are right now. We've logged into Canvas. We technically over on the left hand side, our main areas that you're going to stay at as a K-4, K-5 elementary for Canvas teacher is the Homeroom tab, which you can see over on the left-hand side. Now, right now, as the teacher, you are technically looking at the Homeroom tab. You have My Subjects, which are published courses, courses that can be seen. Those courses represent mostly the courses that you are in as a student. Like we can see Melissa's here. She has 2 published courses currently, which is Math and Practice and the Instructional Pacing Guides. Those are courses where she is a student. The 14 courses underneath there on the Homeroom page is actually where you are most likely going to find courses that you've created and courses that are actually not published, such as your Power School courses. So we're going to talk about today how to publish those subjects and get them inside the hub. So let's get started with that. We want to talk about over on the left-hand side, the little house with the homeroom. We always want to display or actually create a homeroom. So our thoughts were, okay, what would be the best thing for our K-4, 5? Which one of those subjects would be best to house as the hub for all the other subjects? So we're going to utilize from Power School, if you'll scroll down, I want you to locate on your screen the activity period homeroom subject. That is going to be the homeroom that we are going to use. We are going to turn it into the hub, and then we're going to talk about the announcements that go under there and what takes place actually in that homeroom. So I want you to select the title of that subject, activity period homeroom. So we're going to select it. When you select it, it opens up to the actual subject itself, and you will see in a second how that actually moved over on the left from the homeroom little house to the actual subjects tab. That's because we are technically inside of that subject. So in order to make this course the hub for all the other subjects, we have to click in the upper left-hand corner, Manage Subject. This is where you will have this tab for each one of your subjects. We're only going to set one course as our homeroom. And remember, that is our activity period homeroom that flows from Power School itself. Now, I need you on this page. It always comes to the course details. We're going to spend most of our time in this area today discussing what's in the background of this. For our 3-5 people, this is normally where you would automatically, when you click in the subjects, you would see the navigation bar. Looks a little bit different on the elementary side now, and you would have to go into settings to actually find this part. But for us at the elementary level, we are going to manage subject. We're going to scroll down to the bottom. We are actually looking for the area for enable as homeroom course. Enable as homeroom course, which should be almost at the bottom. We're going to put a check inside the box that says enable as homeroom course. Now remember, sometimes it's better to just watch the video and then go back through it to actually do it hands-on later. And understand, if you were one of those 10 schools yesterday who did not have the courses pulled in, they are now in for you. So all schools should have the elementary look on their end, okay? You're going to click Update Course Details. You'll get a green little check at the top that lets you know the course was successfully updated. So now what we want to do is we want to go back to the Homeroom tab because we want to see what has actually taken place there. So we're going to click the little house on the left with the word Homeroom, which takes us back. It looks a little bit different now because we've now set this as our hub to house all of our subjects. Now, you as the teacher are going to see published courses and unpublished courses. Your students will not see the same thing that you see. They will only see their subjects that they are enrolled in underneath the My Subjects area, okay? So let's talk about the homeroom itself and what takes place here in this area. You do have the capability as the homeroom. We'll talk about the tabs at the top a little bit later, but we're currently on the homeroom tab. You have your schedule, you have your grades, you have your resources, and your to-do list. But underneath there, you'll notice something new that happened. You now have a link that is set to that homeroom. So in order to get back into that particular subject, you just click that link. Now, let's talk about what happens inside of here. In this homeroom, it first indicates that it's the homeroom, but also the announcements can be displayed under this homeroom tab. They are displayed for up to 2 weeks, or if you replace it with a new announcement, the new announcement will show up there in that area. By default, though, all announcements are sent to the sections within the homeroom course, okay? So they will see those as they navigate through their actual subjects. What's important for you to know about the announcements is they do not support the student replying back to the announcement, okay? Like this may be and we'll show you in a second this, but an example would be you would let them know to please bring back all their forms tomorrow, or, Friday is wear your school spirit shirt. Those would be the types of announcements that you could add in here. Now, if no course is set as a homeroom, which we are highly suggesting that you do not do that, there will be no announcements set. There'll be none showing because there's no homeroom set to actually filter and push down from that, okay? And remember again, courses must be published for students to view the announcements. So if the course is not published, they cannot see the announcement itself. So how do I actually go in and add an announcement? There are 2 ways to add an announcement in your homeroom. You can either click the link that says Activity Period Homeroom, which will then take you to an area for up in the upper right hand corner. It will actually show you the plus sign at the top. So you see a plus announcement in the upper right hand corner, and this is where you actually can go in and title your announcement, and you can put whatever you need in this actual page. This is called a page itself, and how to create that. And right now, this all looks new to our K2 people, but you will understand how to create pages, how to create assignments, how to work in modules later this week. And we see now how the announcement populates here in the area. The other way that we can actually create an assignment is going up to the edit button on the side, or you actually can click there in the particular area for the announcement. So if it is your first announcement, you'll see plus announcement on the homeroom area tab for your announcement. But as we just put welcome back to school, you see it populates there in our homeroom. So that should take care of understanding how to actually create an announcement for all your students to see. And you can always edit it again by the pencil that's over on the right hand side. Now, what we want to do is we want to concentrate on those subjects today because we've set our homeroom. Down below, if we scroll down a little bit, inside of our unpublished courses, we're going to start with our ELA. You'll see that ELA is an unpublished course. What we first want to do is show you how to make them a published course. Now, this technically means when we publish the course, students can log into Canvas and actually see that course. They can't see what you don't publish inside of it yet, but they will see that course populating on their dashboard. So let's talk about how to actually publish that course. We're going to click on the ELA, and we're going to open that up. So while we're here in this area, let's talk a little bit about what is a subject and how did it get the name that it's got. The subject is a friendly name that is set by our Power School. So whatever is in for you to take attendance from your data manager, your grade book, that is the same title that is provided right there, okay? The name usually displays the same way to all students, and they cannot change the name of that, okay? Now, subjects also in this area, eventually when we start talking about them in depth, they will display items that have a due date in this area. Any missing assignments will show up in this particular subject. This is like drilling down into ELA on its own. The homeroom just has all of them in bulk, but if you want to drill down, this will show the student exactly what they're missing in Miss Cox's ELA third grade class. And if there's any announcements that's for that specific subject, like maybe you ask them to please read a chapter in their novel, that would actually be an announcement that you could put here in this particular subject. It wouldn't really need to go into homeroom itself. Now, students on their side in this area, they'll see the tiles for every subject that is published by the teacher where they have enrollment. So where does the enrollment come from? The enrollment technically comes from Power School. So when a schedule is created, it is put there, which means on the student homeroom area, they're going to probably see or will see all their subjects no matter who the teacher is, okay? For you as the teacher, I'll repeat that again, the homeroom displays the published and the unpublished courses, okay? Just want to repeat that so you know that what you see on your screen, the only way you're going to be able to see what the student sees is in the upper right-hand corner in that subject. You see where it says student view? That will let you go in and see what the student sees on their side. So you can actually take a look and see what they see. Now let's talk about the subject itself and how to publish it. I want you to click on in the upper right-hand corner. Anytime you want to get into the settings of a subject, you are going to want to click Manage Subject. So as we click that, it's going to open us back up to what looks very familiar to you as in the actual course details. Now let's spend some time here talking about that. This is the quickest way to get to your course settings. In this area, let's talk about the course settings themselves. We will talk about the navigation later. Navigation meaning the blue words that are inside the subject. Now let's talk a little bit about the difference between the toolbar that is on the far left, that's our blue area, and our navigation is actually when we're inside of the subject itself. Okay? Now, on the course details, this is the area, the tab at the top. This is the area where you can do some changes to the subjects themselves. And you'll notice right there underneath course details, you have choose image. We'll come back to that in a little bit, but that is the area where you can select a banner to change the look of your subject. Now, with that being said, you'll notice underneath there, the name is there, the course code. We are not allowing teachers to change the name of the course. That is what the title is going to be because it helps us at the admin level know what comes from PowerSchool and what does not, okay? So a lot of this you're not going to ever touch in this background. As we scroll down even further, you are actually would need to be familiar with your file storage. You'll see that. Sometimes we do have the capability of going in and actually raising that level for your storage, but you would need to contact us, okay? But like I said before, a lot of this you are not going to change in the background. Only you would work on the top part, which we're going to talk about in a little bit about our banners, okay? Now, back up at the top, we're going to talk about across the top. We're going to skip the sections tab because we're not going to do anything with that area. We're going to talk about the navigation. Why are we talking about that area? We're talking about that area because it actually is where you can decide what you want your students to see. So you see on the left-hand side, the blue words, that is called navigation. Those are your navigation tools. If you see a little eyeball with a line drawn through it, that's a prohibited sign, which means your students cannot see it. And by the way, that big blue button for conferences is going to go away. So we will not have that pretty soon. We're having that pushed back because we are using Google Meet for all of our conferences. But you'll notice here for Ms. Cox, she actually has showing for our students to be able to see home schedule, anything that's listed there underneath that tab. I'm not going to read all that, but if there becomes a navigational tool that you do not want your students to see, you can go either click and drag it to the bottom, or you can click the three dots to the right of it and actually move it to make it disabled where they cannot see it, okay? You always have to make sure that you save at the bottom whenever you are done with deciding what you want your students to be able to see and not see, okay? Now, a little bit later, we'll talk about apps and the part of you being able to actually utilize some apps where you can click, your students can click in the navigation toolbar and they'll be able to, it'll redirect them to a page that you've linked to. But right now we're doing the bare bones because this is overwhelming, especially for our K2 people, and we're trying to do it in chunks so that you get a clear understanding of Canvas. Now, let's talk about the publish button. Remember, publish means that students can see it on their dashboard. In order to publish the subject, you're going to go manage subject and you're going to come over to the right-hand side and you're going to select publish. That publish button should turn green and you should get a notification at the top that says course was successfully updated. Okay? Now, We want to go back to subject. And we actually want to go back to our homeroom tab. Now, Ms. Cox should now see her ELA published as a course there. And there it is. Now let's scroll down to our next subject, which is math. We're looking for our math. Now remember, some of you actually teach one core subject, so you will have to find those subjects. If you teach all math, you have to find those subjects. You will have to click on them. And once you open them up, you're going to do the same identical thing. You're going to manage subject. You're going to come over to the right-hand side. You're going to click publish, and you should get that notification. Now, let's return back to home, and we're going to do the same thing for our science, our social studies, and our intervention. Now, some teachers, as we were putting in courses manually the last couple of days, for the elementary for Canvas, they did not have an intervention schedule. So you may not have that populate on your screen. If you do not want intervention as part of the published area for your students, you do not have to make it published. That's totally up to you. But if it is something that is part of your schedule and your students are going to need something inside of there, go ahead and publish the intervention. You can publish now. It's up to you. Especially K2 people, your students really aren't going to know how to access it anyway. We're just going ahead and publishing this, but do know if they log in, they can see who their teacher is. And we will try, I said try, because we have to manually do this, but we will try to go in for our Q1s for our schools, our elementary schools. We'll try to go in and push that date to the 23rd, which is when our students start, which means they can't see anything until the 23rd. I hope that helps. Okay, now that Miss Cox in her homeroom, she can technically see there's her ELA course, there's her intervention, there's her math, there's her science, and there's her social studies. And again, Miss Cox, if you don't want intervention showing there, you can just go back and pull that up and just unpublish it if that's not something that you want there. Now, the last little bit for today is we are going to open up the ELA published course, and we're going to talk briefly about under managed subject. Well, how do I change that pretty blue banner to something that I want it to be? And Lisa's going to talk about how to actually do that part and what we have provided for you in the area for that. Lisa?
So we're going to talk today about banners. And it first starts off, where do you get the banners? And so yesterday we were able to provide an enrollment link for the Canvas LMS for elementary teachers. And here's the icon on my dashboard for this course. And Cole's going to put that enrollment link. If you didn't have a chance yesterday, you can do it today. For the new people joining us today, you'll be able to click on that link as well. So as I click inside that course, I'm going to drop down to what is called modules. And on modules, you will begin to see session 1 from yesterday, which is our attendance, our YouTube live stream here, the recording is here, and then that Q&A slide deck is here. Yesterday, we talked about editing inside Canvas and the template and dealing with the sandbox. And we've put those links and pages in here for you so that as you start digging into building that sandbox in modules and building your content, you have some links here to help you and guide you. Today's session is session number 2. It is published, where you'll be able to see the live stream. The recording will be here after we conclude today's session. The attendance link is there, as well as the slide deck again for questions. And then here are our banners. Today we worked in ELA. So inside this module, we have ELA. So I'm just going to click here so you can see it. And this is the banner that is just here. And again, it is just an image that is here for you to use. If you find something different or better or anything like that, we'll go into a little bit more depth on the appropriate sizing for a banner and such. And you can build your own, whether it's a Bitmoji that you may have used last year in your Google Classroom or inside Canvas if you were in it, that you can bring in. And what you'll do is you'll download your ELA image. And when you jump back into your course details, you'll then upload it into the image area. But again, we'll go through that tomorrow as one of the first things we do to be creative, and then we'll build upon our subjects as we're going to continue training tomorrow. Jumping back to modules, here is our session 2. Again, these are just suggestions. There's different ones in here. There's social studies, math, ELA science. We have some others dealing with the bus, the pencils, the crayons, books. And again, these are just suggestions. And for my creative people out there, you can then build your own. We will give you the sizing of the banners, image sizes and such. So then if you choose to build, you can. Moving forward, as we wrap up our session for today, remember to fill out your attendance link, enroll into the course that should be in the chat. We have your YouTube DTL channel and subscribe. Today's recording and any sessions that we do, we will have recordings available for you to review. Now, let's touch on some questions from the slide deck from yesterday. Everyone now should be able and should be on the elementary platform. I'm going to change back over to the elementary platform so you see. So all of you, as you log into Rapid Identity and click on Canvas, you should have this homeroom little house icon. If in fact you still do not, please email us so that we can take a look and see if you're missing or if you haven't been processed fully from HR and such. Attendance. For those of you that are new and may not have a PSRC email, we have opened up the attendance link for public so that you can use any email address to be able to fill in your attendance. Some people had questions, specifically our K2 people, about Google Classroom and the links that you have and that you spent so much time in last year and years prior. You have that capability inside Canvas to use what is called an external URL. So Google Classroom is specifically built on links. Now in Canvas, the Canvas LMS, when you build pages and assignments, and again, we'll go through this week with you, you'll have that capability to still use those links. And we use, the verbiage that we use is called external URL. So no, you have not lost everything from Google Classroom. However, it's just using a little bit different terminology to be able to get what you need. And then lastly, the delivery of our training. This week, we have solely dedicated our time to do YouTube live stream to train our K-4 and some 5th on the elementary platform. Understand this platform just came available in August, where Canvas and DPI were building. So as it is released to us, we are giving it straight to you in the most timely manner as we can. Since we are moving into a blended environment where we have in-person and virtual going on, this is how training is going to be coming down the pike. Some will be in person, some will be virtual, and some will be blended in between. But keep in mind, we're here for you and that we have recordings for you to look at over and over and as you need it. Just keep in mind, we are an email away. You can contact us with questions, screenshots, and anything that you need throughout the school year. Keep in mind, and I know Cole will put it inside the chat, the questions Google form today, the slide deck, and again, we will always review some at the end that are pertinent for you as K-4 and some 5th teachers. As we wrap up today, we hope you have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you here tomorrow at 10:30.